Happy Monday, everybody. Sorry it's a little darker in here. I pushed the show back like 5 minutes because, all my lights, my LED lights that I had up on my ceiling, decided to quit working today. They made it about a year. So it's a little dark in here. So I apologize. But, I don't know. We'll see what else I can do. But anyway, man, it's a busy night tonight. Holy crap. Not only, for that Long Island SK, stuff's been coming out like crazy today. But it's also a busy night. I was hanging out in Truth and Transparency for a while before I got ready for mine. Man, it really sucks that my lights quit working. But anyway, I don't know. Maybe I'll try and figure something out. I was just trying real quick. I went to hit the light before the show started, and all of a sudden it just kept flashing. I'm like, what the heck? So I don't know what's up. Now there's so many people on tonight, so don't ever think that I'm gonna ever be upset at anybody, seriously. I hopped in, I don't remember whose it was. It was after one of my shows. And I hopped in somebody's, and they're like, sorry. I was like, no, for real. We're a team. We all do this together. You know what I mean? What's up, beautiful chaos? Who is this? What do you mean, who is this? What do you mean? What's up, Kib Kitty? Man, it seems like the volume's lower too with the lights off. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. What's up, Slim Skittles? Woke up. Margaret. Oh my gosh. I heard about Texas. I heard about all over the place. Holy crap. Where was it? I was somewhere in somebody's show. And they were like saying that the temperatures, some creators be like, let us know where you're from. And then they were like, let us know the temp too. And I was just like, holy crap. Heat wave all over the place. What's up, Pam? Margaret woke up. So that would probably be like, what are you, 5 hours ahead, Slim? Or 7? What's up, Heavy Metal Rehab? Yeah, I'm excited to check out Slim Skittles live she has. Do you have a notification out already, Slim Skittles? What's up, Coral Beauty? Thank you so much for hanging out last night. It was fun. What's up, Cherry? Yeah, do you have a notification out, Skittles? What's up, SRB? So we're probably going to be going through there. There's little snippets of the other ones, but there's so much Long Island SK I mean, it is crazy. And we'll probably get into. We'll probably have a Idaho4 episode tomorrow night, is what I'm thinking. Yeah, I think that's what we're doing. And I'll probably do the grub truck this coming weekend. What's up, Unravel? Probably do that this weekend. Because I still do want to go through it. But it's going to take me like 5 or 6 hours, and there's no way in hell I can do that on a weeknight. So it's going to be a weekend, probably during the day. Because if I try and do it at night, you never know. What's up, Chalk Baby? Curious Chick. Oh, nice. Myrtle Beach. I know, spell check is not really spell check, is it? It is so dark in here. It's bugging me. No, I'm not mad, Cleo. I got your message. I apologize. I didn't respond. I did get your message. No, I'm not mad. No, not at all. Not at all. I appreciate you. Tech Death, what's up? I appreciate you, Cleo. You've always been very supportive since you came in the show a long time ago. No. If there, if there's any kind of hurt feelings with anybody, whether it's from me to you or you to me, we'll always talk. You know what I mean? We'll always talk. What's up, Pappy Man? Ooh, I can't wait, bro. I was rewatching this morning when I went into work. On my way to work, I was rewatching it. This morning when I was getting ready, I was watching us coach. I was like, man, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. It's going to be so much fun, Pappy. It's going to be exciting. And I was like, I don't know. I'll ask you guys. What's up, SM? It's driving me nuts, really. I'm used to more light in here. I feel like I'm like in a tent or something. Got audio issues? That sucks, man. What, with the microphone? Please hit the like if you haven't. Yeah. No. No, I'm not mad at all. No, not at all. I wish I had more time to be able to. What's up, JoJo? I wish I had more time to be able to kind of, go through stuff, really. But we will. I don't know. I think it was like maybe a month ago I brought up switching my schedule around a little bit in the future. So I'm thinking I'm going to start it next week, but I'm not sure. Not sure yet. All right. This Long Island SK. Holy crap. Let me go through. Whoops, wrong folder. I'm going to go through my up-to-date folder. And I'm going to see what's breaking first. We're going to cover a little bit of all three cases, but mainly we're going to be covering the Long Island SK. And we'll probably have Idaho tomorrow night. I do want to... There's so much stuff. There really is. So I think I'm gonna end up doing a later show since I have Wednesday off. I think tomorrow night I might do a later show, go a little longer, and then Wednesday I'll just take it easy. I'm sure, because when I go late like that, I maybe get like 2.5 hours of sleep. So with me not having a show Wednesday, I'll just come home and take a nap afterwards because I'll be tired. But I'm anticipating it being a long one because this is, I don't know. I thought about doing some episodes like this, okay? Now, I've been seeing these come across my feed the last month. And I was like, this might be kind of interesting. But I know it's a couple weeks late, and there's probably a reason for it. Nah, never mind. We actually watched it. We could just watch it. We'll do that some other time. Let me see here. There's so much News Nation, though. That's the thing that sucks. Now, this is what was weird is, and there's a couple other ones from local news too. But there's some 911 calls. It says before Shannon Gilbert's disappearance, unedited. Bunch of different things. We'll be getting into Mallory Beach here, either Thursday or during the weekend. Let me see here. And I wanted to watch this harsh reality video. Man, there's so much. There's so much for tonight. Man, there's so much. Let me see here. I'm just trying to pick what I'm going to go with first. There's so much to go with. But I think I'm going to play... I'm going to go to JLR first. Because I want to hear it. Now, and I'll say what's up to everybody coming in. Sorry, I was just kind of going through my videos real quick. Sorry about the darkness. My lights, my LED lights around my ceiling took a shit right before the show. So it's really freaking dark in here. I know it's messing with the camera. I apologize about that. Not sure. Yes, I did hear that, SM. There was something that came across, actually. I'll have to save that, though. What's up, Yoli? We will definitely be getting a show here in the works soon with you and Draw. Let me see here. Natalie B. There's Phantasmic. Yeah, sorry about the lighting issues. It sucks too. I really enjoyed these. I mean, it goes around my whole ceiling. So it was nice. I just have it all different colors, changing colors, beats with the music, all that stuff. And yeah, it just kept flashing. Maybe I need a new battery. Your glow, your sign. Yeah, but isn't it too glowy now? It's like too glowy. And that's even darkened down. I darkened it too. All right, we're going to go to JLR first because this has something to do with... Now, there's been a lot of chatter. About where that footage came from. What's up, Teresa? Just got home. Oh, cool. I'm just saying, for me, it's like, I feel like I'm in a cave. Oh, thank you, Fantastic. I appreciate that. I feel like I'm in a cave. We can see you okay. Yeah, I gotta figure something else out. And I even have like a LED thing going in front of me too. Gosh, you guys made me lose track of what I was talking about. Yeah, it's a Monday, right? Oh yeah. Okay. So, you know how we dug into that Linda Lane stuff, and especially when it came to the sources, like it's crazy. You don't know where it's coming from. You don't know, it came from all these different channels that had like 100 or 200 or 300 subs. It was very odd. It was like, how come Drunk Turkey or Truth and Transparency or some of the all stars, weren't, even Sleuthy, like that's where I was coming from. Like, what? So it's like, did somebody put the timestamp up there? We just don't know. Now, we dug into it, me and Dago did, for, gosh, I didn't get any sleep for a few days there. And, after we dug with it, it was like, we kind of like stepped away a little bit because we already did what we could do with it, really. We put so many hours into it. And then a lot of the theories and stuff, it was getting hard to handle, mental space wise. So, we kind of chilled back, and then we started hearing things that could these be the potential sources? Not to put names out there or nothing, but it was like, could these really be the potential sources? So we didn't quite, So I found this kind of interesting because JLR, speaking of, has a new video out today with the surveillance or something new now. So I don't know. I haven't checked it out. What's up, Josie? Something happened in Oregon today. Yes. Yeah, we're going to check it out. I'm going to play this video, and while we're playing it, Cherry, I'm actually going to look for the other one. That way nobody has to sit and watch me look for it. What's up, Dan? Yeah, the source was Reddit, right? What's up, Cassie? Yeah, the source was Reddit. Because, hell, I think before me and Dago even went into it, I think Daniel hopped on. Or maybe we did already go into it for a day or something. I remember Daniel hopping on and him saying he got an email too. Because I remember getting an email like the night before or something. And I was just, when it comes to stuff like that, I don't play it right away. I'll wait till the end of the show and I'll check it out first. Just because you never know. Like that stuff, you never know. It could be hella doctored. So it's always good to check that shit out. Even there was something a couple nights ago. I could have sat there and played it for you, and we could have watched it. Some crazy shit that I came across a couple nights ago. That, if you go look at the post, you're like, holy fucking shit, this is gonna be fucking wild. Again, I checked it out after the show. Nah, we're not gonna play it. So, it was kind of interesting. I don't know. So it was, but then Daniel explained how it all went down, and when it came to the Reddit and the post for the video and all that stuff, and the time difference and all that stuff. So I came across this and I thought it was kind of interesting. So I figured we'd check this out real quick. And I will get that other video up so we can get into that too. They might have like something going live right now. We'll check though. So this is JLR and the video. New video. This is from an hour ago. Right? I'm not saying it's. Oh, no sound. Hold on. I don't know. This is crazy. StreamYard and YouTube. Let me refresh. Usually refreshing works. Let me know.
Jonathan Lee Riches investigates. I am out front of the condo apartment complex, Linda Lane, Moscow, Idaho. Why am I here? Well, I am covering the
Is it
Moscow,
gonna
Idaho
work or what?
Brian Kohlberger case. And
Is it working? No.
We've
Hold on, let me refresh again.
Jonathan Lee Riches investigates. I am out front of the condo apartment complex, Linda Lane, Moscow, Idaho. Why am I here? Well, I am covering the Moscow, Idaho Brian Kohlberger case. And recently, we've seen some surveillance footage that has been put out. And some people are saying it's true, and some people are saying it's not true. But footage came out where it would show between the hours of 4 and 4:30 p.m. where it showed headlights and cars, and people are saying that was the timeline around when the murders happened at the Moscow, Idaho home, 1122 King Road home. And people are wondering, is that legit or not? And I'm here to look into the matter because I think I found where
we already showed it on Google, and then we were asking Rory to check it out. I mean, what the hell, bro? And I think it's real. I mean, you can't like doctor a car pulling around and shit. It's the timestamp, because it could have been from a Saturday night in 2021. You know what I'm saying? Like, timestamps can be doctored.
This surveillance footage could possibly be. But the question is, has it been altered, faked, or doctored at all?
The timestamps, that's all I'm saying, the timestamps. Other than that, it's real. It's the timestamps.
Or is it legit? And that's what I'm here to look at. I'm going to give you guys a perspective on what this place is and that footage of where I think it is. Also, it's at a different direction that most of us thought. It's a different direction where it's facing actual north, not west, which will be very, very interesting. But I'm out here. I'm going to take you on a walk up to this location. We're going to see firsthand and take a look together. I kind of browsed through there earlier, and now I'm going to go with all of you and let me know what you think as we walk up Linda Lane, Moscow. This is one block to the east of where this tragedy occurred. This tragedy occurred right over there, King Road, November 13th, 2022, during the early morning hours. The footage is out. If you haven't seen the footage,
I know.
At least check it out. And
I know, and I've been taking a break since, gosh, last Thursday. We haven't really talked about Idaho that much since Thursday. Yeah, Thursday night. Ain't that crazy? We did a little bit on Friday, but not really, because we were just talking West Memphis, and then you could see the similarities, but really, we haven't really been talking Idaho for a few days, but needed a few day break. but we'll probably get back into it tomorrow night. There is a lot of stuff I wanted to check out.
I don't know if it's legit or not. I don't know the source or the origin. I don't know the authenticity of this footage, but it's out there. And now that it's out there, it's raising a lot of reasonable doubt on who possibly did this, because people are saying, well, you know, there was other people around that house at the same time. There was other vehicles. Could there be accomplices? Could it not be Brian Kohlberger? And it shows a vehicle doing like some sort of turns, headlights, but it's hard to see. It's grainy.
The
so
timestamp
together and go see.
That's the question. Is the time?
So I'm going to go up to the location here where I believe the surveillance footage came from, Linda Lane. And I want to. This is what I found interesting. So,
coffee making me
drool. I honestly
drool.
believe that security camera came right here.
Yeah, I was saying it, bro.
But here's something interesting, because I had the belief.
That's why I was like, Rory, can you go see if that's the fucking security camera? Because I could see it on fucking Google. I couldn't be there.
That this Sallyport thing was facing that way. But it's actually facing this way. It's facing to the north. Here, I believe this could be the camera. This could be the camera here.
No.
As you see it. Might have been this one, because that one,
the one in the white,
is looking to the left. That one is facing out this way.
Come on, bro. We did this already.
It looks like the poles are the same. And it looks like the fencing is the same.
So this is
not
new. Okay, what else?
Here's the thing.
We did this like 2 weeks ago.
We saw cars. We saw cars come in. And we heard it like a car later on, or a truck parked here. But the Moscow home is around there. Did Kohlberger do the 3-point turn here? Or...
yeah, that's what we were saying.
Was it over?
Whoever it was, whatever date and time it was, that person did it, yes.
And I don't see any other cameras. I don't see any other cameras here. I'm assuming it's by those poles. But here's the thing is, people thought that it was facing that way.
No.
And
nobody thought it was facing that way.
You know, that other side there is...
see, you can drive. Thank you, JLR. You can drive right up through and around to the back of the parking lot. So even though that tree's covering it, you can drive right around through there.
It's the Moscow, Idaho home. The other side there, right?
See, you gotta, as soon as you come around, you gotta take a hard right, and then you're going up an incline. So you're making a hard right. That's why you don't see them headlights come through. But again, the timestamp, we don't know. The way you're... We've done this 2 weeks ago, SM.
So I don't know. All confusing to me.
I mean, he does great work. I ain't gonna lie. But in any other time, it's like, but dude, we already did this one. I just wanted to see what other perspective we could get with his video. I actually thought it was new Linda Lane surveillance. I thought there was another camera than what we thought of. That's what I thought this video was.
What do you think? Because I am out here in the field trying to get an understanding and perspective whether that surveillance camera is legit. Look, they even got a pair of boots.
They're all over the place. You can even see them on my Google Guy walk around. There's shoes on, I mean, especially on King or Queen Road or whatever you want to call it, because it flip-flops. There's even on that, there's like 3 pairs of shoes if you're standing at the corner.
But what is going on here? Do you think the footage is legit or not? So let me know what you think. Is this Linda Lane footage legit or not?
And that was never a good sign for where I was around. That wasn't a good sign that had shoes hanging from electric lines. It wasn't a good sign.
Facing right
I don't know what it means in Idaho, but I know what it meant.
the Cobra doing
Not good.
turn there. What about
Not
that
good.
vehicle? What's going on here, people? JLR investigates. I am out in the field. Subscribe to my channel, like, hit the notification button. I'll try to find out more information about this. Stay tuned.
Boom. Boom. I need some shit like that. Oh yeah, I was gonna work on some different little mini videos this weekend. I totally lost track thinking about all the sports stuff. All right, let me see here. That is the Long Island. Sorry, I got sucked into that video. I'll slap my own hand. I was supposed to be looking for that frickin' video for the Oregon stuff. All right, here we go. There's got to be something breaking out here. Let me see. I know I saw it because I was like, oh, they arrested somebody. It might have been on somebody else's channel. Maybe that's why I didn't save it. But I know I saw it. And I can skim pretty quick. Ooh, I got 2 Powerball tickets tonight. I usually don't play, but I got 2 tickets tonight. Let me see here. Where'd it go? I know I saw it somewhere. Where did it go? I know I saw it. Where in the heck did it go? Oh my gosh. I know I saw it. I don't. Where could it have went to? And I'm looking at the subscription, so it should be there no matter what. Well, shoot. If somebody wants, I don't know what the hell. If somebody wants to send me a link, I'll play it. I could have swore because I seen his face. He's got like almost a shaved head, scruffy. Where in the hell is it? I know I saw it. Where did it go? There it is. Oh, no, it was no, that's not it. That was somebody's show, but I could have swore it had to be a news clip. Yeah, I'll have to look for it. I don't see it. Um, let me look at the live feed. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. All right. We'll just have to go. I'll have to look for it. All right, let me get to chat. Sorry about that. Jeez. I could have swore I had it. Let me see. It's more common before you used to have meaning on these kids seeing how high they can throw. Yeah, probably nowadays. All of the mainstream content creators for asking legit questions. Why would the mainstream content creators pick you out for asking legit questions? And it just meant different things. Oh, thank you, Chemistry Queen. This is for having the most awesome group. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. You've been around for a long time, Chemistry Queen. Holy crap. Long time. I don't usually play. I don't usually play, but I was like, yeah, when it gets this high, I play a couple times or something. When it gets this high. Yeah, thank you so much. But you're right. Probably nowadays, it probably really doesn't mean very much, you know? You see people running around with certain colors all the time, and it's like, yo. A while back, you'd be asked some questions. You'd be asked some questions, that's for sure. Stuff you need to memorize. All right. So I'm going to go. We're going to get into. Do you want to check out something real quick about Carly Russell? Or do you want to get into some of this Long Island SK? Because there's a lot of stuff with this Long Island SK. And I'm going to see if I can figure out something with the lighting issues because it's kind of bugging me. Let me see here. There was something, not this one. It was like a local news station and something good. Where was it? It was like NBC something. No. Maybe it's down here at the bottom. News Nation. Eyewitness. NBC New York. Unedited calls. That's right. We'll wait to get into that. I'm going to play this. Where's it at? News. Eyewitness News. ABC. New York 7. get rid of that. This is asking if there's more. Now, when we were watching stuff about it this weekend, they were saying something about how it could be maybe connected to like a ring. They think that there's multiple people involved. Let me see if I can figure out something with this lighting.
Welcome back. More now on the Gilgo Beach murders, arrest, and investigation. Our investigative reporter, Kristen Thorne, leads our Eyewitness News series called Missing, and she's also a longtime Long Island resident. So the Gilgo Beach case
back
is
in
an
March,
interesting cross-section of her work. And when we sat...
Wow, so they've been following... Hold on. They've been following this guy since March? Right up till he got arrested? I know, I am too, chemistry. It's very odd. Damn, Coral. Damn, Coral. Oh, you got 1 or 2 under the belt. How many, Coral? How many you got under the belt, Coral? Yeah, I did see some of the Google searches. I was like, oh my gosh.
We realized quickly there might even be more crossover than we thought. Kristen, before we get into the weeds of all this, and there are plenty of weeds to crawl into here, I want to talk about the bigger picture. You know, you've become this sort of national expert in missing and women missing, and a lot of times there's sex involved with this. It dawned on me as I was preparing for this that this is very similar to those cases, except of course the victims aren't missing, but for a long time the accused man was missing.
Sure.
Have you thought about this and what it means to you?
I've thought a lot about this case and the developments over the last 2 days, and I have to tell you, it's been very surreal. Surreal in the sense that I still think about some of my other cases from missing, and how I am curious if they're going to be looking at any of the DNA from Rex Heuermann for some of those women. At least one of the victims that we covered was involved in sex work before she disappeared, and quite frankly, fits the profile that he may have been interested in. And so that's been the thought of mine all weekend.
Have you talked to the family in that case yet?
I have not.
Yeah, interesting, because today, the NYPD saying we're going to start digging deep and looking at the DNA that they got from a pizza,
the crust, yes,
and the crust from it, and look at all the cold cases and see where they go with this.
They have to, because they have to be able to determine if he was involved in any other case. I mean, we're talking about a potential serial killer here, right? So we do not know if the three and fourth, really the fourth woman, Maureen Brainerd Barnes, who they also are probably going to end up charging him with as well. But of course, they have to go back and they have to look and use the DNA that they have now in these other cases.
And of course, the mystery remains, because there were other women and other people who were not women, men, and one kid who was found, killed, their bodies buried around the same area.
And they are going to be looking into that. My feeling, and again, it's just my opinion, is that I do not think he was associated with those, but that's just my opinion. I think that the four women who we've seen fit a certain profile, but what we don't know yet is what were his interests, for lack of a better word, right? Right now, we've identified the 3 and 4, and they all fit a profile: white, sex workers, female, and petite.
Yeah.
So we don't know yet if he will be connected to those other ones. For me, I'm not exactly sure, but investigators have made it clear they are absolutely going to look into that. And if he is not connected to those 6 other remains, they will continue to keep this task force.
Right. How many is he connected to? If he's been part of this for this long, you think that's the only frickin' spot It was probably a rotation thing or something. You hit up different spots, so you're not going to the same spot every damn time. Multiply that by like 6 or 7 or 8.
Forced together to find who killed those other individuals.
He gave, the accused killer, gave an interview to a German reporter. And I'm sure you had.
Dude was ordering right up till he got nabbed. Are you serious? Wow.
Same reaction I did when all of a sudden he's talking about, yes, I've been very tough and I have to have this kind of, hammer. And it was by the negotiations. I put it on the table and, it sets the tone for everything. And I'm like, whoa, gee, many Christmas. What is going on there? How many of these cases involved brutalization by a hammer like that?
That's actually a very interesting point.
What?
Prosecutors throughout this entire investigation from the beginning have been very quiet about the manner and cause of death of these women. We know it's homicidal violence, but they have not been very forthcoming.
Oh my gosh, if it was from a hammer, that quote is... Wow.
With how exactly they were murdered. And that is most likely because they want to keep the integrity of the case.
Right.
We have different things that we have heard from law enforcement about how these women were killed, and it is consistent across the board. And certainly the way they were buried is consistent. And so I know I mentioned on Friday when this happened, we have known as reporters for years that there was one person that was definitely associated with this group of women because they were all buried the same way. And now we are hearing more details about how that was, the way they were bound, what they were bound with, and it's consistent with the same killer.
I wonder how much is part of this and really sort of tied up in the mystery of all this. We had a crooked police chief in Suffolk County. Nothing got done really until then. And then during that period, and when Harrison took over, left his NYPD job, high-ranking chief job, and then became chief of police for Suffolk County. He brought in the FBI, and boom, 16 months later, we're in business here, and they found somebody. How important was that?
It's critical. Any investigation, you want to have all law enforcement partners together. And for a very long time, that wasn't happening in Suffolk County. And Ray Tierney, who I interviewed exclusively before he came into office, and he said Gilgo was going to be a top priority, and Commissioner Harrison, they formed this task force. And not only that, they brought all the documents related to the case to Yaphank, which is the headquarters of Suffolk County Police Department. Right. So everything was in one place. To us, this is very common sense, right? You bring everybody together. But what people maybe don't understand is there's always politics involved. And it's Long Island, and it's Suffolk County, and there's always been politics. But what Ray Tierney and Commissioner Harrison did, and they made it clear now, they cut through that. They said, we don't want any part of that, and we're going to handle this correctly.
Could we please continue this discussion?
Absolutely.
Because it's just fascinating, and you are deep in it, aren't you?
I am.
It's like a
still
case.
Plugging away.
There you go.
Who is that? Kristen Thorne? Man, this could be way freaking deep. Who is Rex? Man, I want to play Law and Crime, but I heard they freaking strike your ass. Trying to find something that's not Law and Crime. A look back. Press conference. This was from 3 days ago. New details. New details from 9 hours ago.
We're going to turn now to new details on the architect and dad accused of being a serial killer on Long Island. We're learning how police tracked him down after more than a decade. Aaron Katursky is in Massapequa, New York, with the latest. Good morning, Aaron.
Something.
Michael, good morning to you. Police are still here at the house overnight. They searched a storage unit nearby. They're looking for clues to solidify the case and see if they can tie the suspect to other victims.
Didn't this like start in the 90s or something? I thought this started in like the 90s. It's been going on a long time. I mean, that's gotta be one of many areas that he would go to. If he...
This morning, the suburban dad accused of being a serial killer is locked up, charged with murdering 3 women he allegedly solicited for sex more than a decade ago.
It was very important to get this person off the streets.
59-year-old Rex Heuermann pleading not guilty after he was charged with killing Melissa Bartholomew, Megan Waterman, and Ambra Costello, and suspected of killing Maureen Brainerd Barnes. Their bodies found wrapped in burlap in December 2010 along Gilgo Beach. Detectives spent the weekend pulling evidence from his home, including trash bags and a filing cabinet and weapons.
Wow, so they were looking for a girl, and then they discovered all these other, and it's been 13 years now?
Seen in this DailyMail.com photo. Prosecutors say Heuermann had 92 gun permits. They also say he was living a double life.
He had a series of burner phones, fictitious email accounts, and he definitely bifurcated his life as to what he did behind closed doors and what the public saw.
The public saw a father of 2, an architect who commuted into New York City.
I'm an architectural consultant. I'm a troubleshooter, born and raised on Long Island.
Heuermann appearing in this YouTube video a year ago, around the time investigators began to suspect he could be the killer, saying they zeroed in on him using DNA technology, his car, and cell phone data. Authorities say cell phone records narrowed the area where the suspect could be. Detectives then looked to see who in that area owned a distinctive vehicle allegedly tied to one of the murders, a Chevrolet Avalanche, reducing the pool of possible suspects from thousands to dozens. More cell phone records allegedly tied Heuermann's burner phones and the victims' phones to locations near his office in Midtown Manhattan and Heuermann's home in Massapequa Park. This trash can outside the office is where police say they found pizza crust they used to take a DNA sample, matching it to DNA from a hair found on one of the victims. Heuermann was arrested Thursday night. Now detectives trying to determine whether he might be linked to 6 other unsolved Gilgo Beach murders.
We're going to see if he's involved with the other deaths.
Dominique Vidal said she was recently in a networking group with Heuermann when the topic of podcasts and true crime came up.
He asked me if I knew about the Gilgo Beach murders.
She says he left her a voicemail in February.
Hey, this is Rex.
Sharing it with our station WABC.
I had a question for you. And also wanted to touch base. Hope you're doing good. Hope to talk to you soon.
Damn, maybe I need to go through all my freaking voice messages. There's a shit ton I haven't even been able to check.
Police are also interested whether there may be victims beyond Gilgo Beach. An NYPD official told ABC News detectives are now checking to see whether they can tie Heuermann to unsolved murders or missing persons cases in New York City. And George, his DNA has now been entered into a database for police to check throughout the state. George?
Okay, Aaron, thanks.
How about throughout the damn country?
Thanks. Let's bring in former FBI agent Brad Garrett. Brad, this evolution in DNA and phone data technology is really something.
Right, you get it off a pizza crust.
It is, George. The combination of the two, and here's the real key. Departments have looked at the Golden State Killer case. They decided maybe we can do something new with DNA, and they've gotten other agencies involved. The FBI obviously helped in this most recent serial killer case. And so if you can combine the two, let the feds help you when need be, and maybe even get grants to also help pay for sexual assault kit testing, etc.
Yeah, you were an FBI profiler. What's the profile here?
So serial offenders lead parallel lives. In other words, George, they can do horrendous things, kill people, torture people, whatever it might be. They can go home, they can feed their kids, they can kiss their wife goodbye. Kids go to school, the wife goes to work or whatever, and their life goes on. That's why the term hide in plain sight is very relevant to serial offenders.
Think they'll find other victims?
I wouldn't be surprised. In other words, even
Yeah.
before Gilgo Beach, I would check that. But in particular, when this case came to light, he may have changed locations where he placed the deceased.
Dude,
Brad Garrett, thanks very much.
I would think the dude would have 5, 6, 7 spots and have some kind of rotation. So you're never at the same spot close together. I mean, man, it seemed like that's horrible. The Inquisitor. We haven't checked out this channel for a long time. I do like this channel a lot. They have a video, Who is Rex? And then I'm going to get to some of these other updates here. Who is Rex?
For Heuermann and Dolores Heuermann.
Whoop. Is it working?
"59-year-old Rex Andrew Heuermann is a consultant, architect and owner of RH Consultants and Associates Inc., which was incorporated in 1994. Rex Andrew Heuermann was born to Theodore Heuermann and Dolores Heuermann of Massapequa Park, New York on September 13, 1963. Rex married Elizabeth Rose Ryan on September 29, 1990. They had 2 children together. Rex graduated from Berner High School, Massapequa, New York, and attended a drama class in the school with actors Billy and Alec Baldwin. He received a Bachelor of Architectural Technology degree from the New York Institute of Technology and was an intern architect with a New York architectural firm at the time he got married. On Friday morning on July 14, 2023, Rex Heuermann was arrested at his home at 105 First Avenue, Massapequa Park, New York. He was arrested in relation.
That looks like a really small house. That looks like a really modest house. I'm surprised it's not like some kind of, like, how is he paying for all this shit?
Massapequa Park, New York. He was arrested in relation to the Gilgo Beach murders of 10 to 18 victims between the years of 1996 and 2011. According to information released by law enforcement, he has been linked to 4 of the Gilgo Beach murders and he was caught via DNA. Rex Heuermann will appear before a judge Friday afternoon.
So good morning. There's been some new developments in the Gilgo investigation. Last night, a little bit around 8:30 p.m. in the vicinity of 35th and 5th Avenue in the city, members assigned to the Gilgo Beach Task Force, which consisted of numerous detectives and investigators from the Suffolk County Police Department, as well as our partners in the FBI, did place one individual under arrest, transported him back to 30 Yaphank, which is our headquarters, and he's currently in custody at this time. The case is in grand jury. We anticipate an indictment later on this afternoon, and we're going to probably have a press conference around 4 to 5 o'clock this afternoon with the district attorney and a lot of the other leadership that law enforcement has out here in Suffolk County. I do have to take advantage of this opportunity and thank the teamwork, the effort, the work by all the members of the task force, allowing us to get to this point today. It was a collaborative effort. The resilient work that was done allowed us to place somebody into custody. But once again, there will be a lot more detailed press conference later on today, 4 o'clock, out in Riverhead at the district attorney's office. I'm going to pass it over to our county executive, Steve Malone.
Thank you, Commissioner. This is my 12th year as county executive. I've lived with the Gilgo Beach investigation for my entire tenure as county executive. And I can tell you that during that time, the focus for me, members of our team, have been on bringing justice for these victims. And now here we are today with this arrest taking place, this major development in the case, and moving closer to that goal that we have all been working towards. I want the public to know, the message to the public is that we have never stopped working on this case. There are police officers, Suffolk police officers, who started working on this case who have retired now. But their effort, their dedication, it has never stopped, putting more resources into the case. There are people who talked about this case never getting to this point, never getting to this resolution that we see today, this development that we should see today. But it was the nonstop, dogged determination of the men and women of the Suffolk County Police Department, our investigators, and our partners in law enforcement, including the Nassau County Police Department. I want to thank Commissioner Ryder. All of that work never stopped. And a message to the men and women of the Suffolk County Police Department. My thanks to you and specifically the investigators here and the team working under Commissioner Harrison. I've always been incredibly proud of the men and women of this department. This is one of the finest law enforcement agencies in the nation and the world. And I'm proud of the work that they've done here to bring us this much closer. The work is not done, and you will hear more details on that later today. The work is not done here, but this is a major, major step forward. Achieving the goal that we have had from the beginning, and that is, again, to bring closure to these families and to bring justice to the victims in this case. There'll be more to discuss later. Thank you very much.
Rex Heuermann, I'm an architect. I'm an architectural consultant. I'm a troubleshooter. Born and raised on Long Island.
Okay.
Been working in Manhattan since 1987.
Oh, wow.
Very long time.
Okay. So this brings directly to my first question. So, can you explain to our audience what is it that you do, not the architect part of your business, but the other part of the business, which is, it's my understanding that you're kind of a facilitator with the Department of Building. Is that correct? But please tell us.
That's correct, but much more.
Okay. That's much more I'm interested.
I do troubleshooting, architectural troubleshooting, and negotiations with the building department.
If you were a tool or an object to help you to bring your business to greater heights, what would it be?
That's an interesting question.
I know.
because for what I do, we have to have so many tools in the toolbox.
Just one.
Just one.
Just one. Or an object. It doesn't have to be a tool. It can be an object.
You know what?
Yeah.
I know.
All right.
One of the things I learned from my father was furniture building.
This is it.
Okay.
He was an aerospace engineer and built satellites.
Right.
And
runs in the family, building things.
And built furniture at home. And I still build it in the same exact workshop.
So
I have one tool that's pretty much used in almost every job. And it's actually a cabinet maker's hammer.
Okay. Cabinet maker hammer. Okay.
It is persuasive enough when I need to persuade something.
Whoa.
Something.
Whoa.
And it always yields excellent results.
Yeah.
And at the end of the project, whatever piece of furniture or what I'm working on, it always helps it come out beautiful.
What the hell? Hold on a minute. What?
There'll be more to discuss later. Thank you very much.
Rex Heuermann, I'm an architect. I'm an architectural consultant. I'm a troubleshooter. Born and raised on Long Island.
Okay.
Been working in Manhattan since 1987.
Oh, wow.
Very long time.
Okay. So this brings directly to my first question. So, can you explain to our audience what is it that you do, not the architect part of your business, but the other part of the business, which is, it's my understanding that you're kind of a facilitator with the Department of Building. Is that correct? But please tell us.
That's correct, but much more.
Okay.
That's
much more I'm interested.
I do troubleshooting, architectural troubleshooting.
Troubleshooting.
And negotiations with the building department.
If you were a tool.
Where's the other part of the interview? That was obviously cut.
With the building department.
If you were a tool or an
Where's
object
the full interview?
To help you in your to bring your business to
architectural troubleshooting and negotiations with the building department.
If you were a tool
or
an object to help you in your to help you to bring your business to greater heights, what would it be?
That's an interesting question.
I know.
Because for what I do, we have to have so many tools in the toolbox.
Just one.
Just one.
Just one. Or an object. It doesn't have to be a tool. It can be an object.
You know what? Yeah. I know.
All right.
I bet he's been asked that question before, and that's all about the suspense. This is probably one of his little go-to freaking explanation answers to a question.
One of the things I learned from my father was furniture building.
Okay.
He was an aerospace engineer and built satellites. And
runs in the family, building things.
And built furniture at home. And I still build it in the same exact workshop.
So
I have one tool that's pretty much used in almost every job. And it's actually a cabinet maker's hammer.
Okay. Cabinet maker hammer. Okay.
It is persuasive enough. When I need to persuade something.
Not someone.
Something. And it always yields excellent results. Yeah. And at the end of the project, whatever piece of furniture or what I'm working on, it always helps it come out beautiful.
That's kind of gross when you think about it, and it makes you wonder if these victims were unalived with a hammer. Oh my gosh. I wonder where the other part of that interview's at. I'd like to hear that. I'd like to hear the whole thing. That was that was something to hear there. One doesn't persuade items. That's a good point, Cherry. That's right. Right? Yeah. Apparently today they found an arsenal of tools. Yeah. And I even think they took out the cabinet too, right? Fancy Nancy? I think they even took out a cabinet, something about a couple hundred. Now I was looking over Pix 11. I couldn't see anything on YouTube. So I tried excuse me. I tried looking at their Twitter and I don't see anything on their Twitter either. I know there's another channel that was talking about it. As I was going though, I did see, where is that video? Yeah, right here. There's video of.
In it, you can see Rex Heuermann calmly walking down the street around 7 in the evening last Thursday. When he gets to the end of the block, he appears to be apprehended by a group of agents in dark suits.
Did you do it?
The 59-year-old is now charged with killing Melissa Barthélemy, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello. Police say he's also the prime suspect in the death of Maureen Brainard Barnes.
Thank you, Therese.
Investigators have spent days searching his Massapequa home, where neighbors say he grew up and lived with his children and wife. Reportedly, while searching the house, officers have found a life-size doll in a glass case.
Having that doll in the case, it's a little bit strange. You know, he might have some kind of a fetish, and that's something that they might look into. You know, he gravitated towards these sex.
What does it?
Sex workers.
Police say.
You think he's gonna have a freaking life-size doll in a glass case with his freaking wife living there? Or is this in a basement? I heard something about a basement being locked and nobody was allowed to go down or something.
Slew of evidence, including Heuermann's Chevrolet Avalanche, cell phone records, and DNA tied him to the victims. A former NYPD homicide detective says the teamwork between Rodney Harrison, the Suffolk County Police Commissioner, the FBI, and the Suffolk County District Attorney, along with other law enforcement agencies, was a game changer in the case that spans more than a decade.
They worked together. They brought great detectives in there and re-looked at it. They got the evidence necessary, and now people of Long Island can go to sleep tonight and feel very relieved that the police are out there doing their job, and what a great job.
But despite this arrest and these charges, in total 11 bodies have been found in the Gilgo Beach area, which means the investigation is far from over.
Yeah, it's far from over. Why are you saying that, dude? It is far from over. Mary Murphy's mystery tonight. Let me see if I can see if there's anything out there right now. Like, where was this doll located? Was it in the dining room? Was it in the basement? Like, what is this information here? All right, let me see if I can see something. What time is the Powerball thing? Let's see. How am I not seeing anything for this? I'm still not. More than 200 guns. Hold on a minute. What? Oh, looking up the
Correspondent Alex Capriello is live on Long
the Oregon SK.
Island. And Alex, you've learned police were back at that storage facility
It
connected.
makes you wonder, Katie. You hope not. You know what I mean? This is what I'm hoping. I'm hoping it wasn't something that was. They were saying that, you know, there's a basement. People weren't allowed to go in there. I just hope that's not where it was at, because if that's where it was at, that'd be some creepy shit. Now, if it's like a hand-me-down from great-great-great-grandma or something. I get it. But not something that's in a basement that's locked.
Connected to Heuermann. What are they looking for?
My clock? What do you mean?
Yeah, that's right, Elizabeth. The investigation continues to try to uncover any new details that might connect accused murderer Rex Heuermann to the deaths of 7 others found on that coastline. Meanwhile, the search warrant execution at his home right here behind me is revealing alarming new insight into the man and opens up the possibility that there could be more victims out there.
Rex, did you do it?
Today, police continue to hunt for new evidence linking accused murderer Rex Heuermann to the deaths of several women whose bodies were discovered on Gilgo Beach.
All right, so there's all the that's even more information than the other ones. Where's this 200 guns? They're at a self-storage.
That locker, less than 10 minutes from Heuermann's childhood home. Suffolk County Police Commissioner Rodney Harrison said authorities are looking for body parts or trophies tied to the killings. Over the weekend, you could see investigators search both inside the home and underneath in what appears to be an underground cellar. Police confiscating more than 200 guns. And
Hold on a minute. Is that like a tornado, like a Kansas tornado thing? It is. So he could literally go in there. Wait. If that's how we had to... Well, how did... Hold on. But this is my question. How would his wife's hair... Wouldn't they... I mean, I know hair can travel everywhere, but I would imagine there wouldn't be a shit ton of it to end up on some victim that was wrapped up and placed, you know? I don't know. I always thought maybe that they went inside, but who knows? Maybe they went inside and then afterwards it's where he went. My gosh. Yeah. That's creepy. I didn't know that they had those there. Like the Kansas tornado things underneath the house, whatever you call them. It's in New York. Right there, everybody. If you can't finish the pizza, don't do the damn crime. That's a t-shirt, bro. That's a t-shirt. Oh, that's funny. That's fucking funny. There we go, right there. Oh. That's good. Like that one. 400K. Whoa. Was over 400,000 in behind in taxes? Oh, chemistry. Oh, man. No, it said life size heavy metal. What day did they catch him? It's been a few days now. Yeah, like a tornado shelter. Over 200 guns, it says. Now, did she go out of town a lot? Because I think that's what took place. Is all this stuff took place when she was out of town or whatever. It's a walkout basement. It's in the PCA. I need to get the PCA. I don't even have the PCA for it. That's good. I like that. They insinuated. Nuh-uh, Fancy Nancy. Oh, Yoli, I hope not. It's a walkout basement. So, can you get through there from inside the house, Josie? Or is that a type of basement that you have to access from outside?
In what appears to be an underground cellar. Police confiscating more than 200 guns and also a life-size doll kept inside.
Where are you going to put 200 guns in that house? It had to be in the cellar, right? But then you wouldn't want to keep the guns in the cellar because all the moisture.
A glass box. If it's true what this man is accused of doing, how do you think he evaded police for more than a decade?
Well, just look at the house. You know, he didn't draw attention to himself. You know, he tried to live somewhat of a normal, if you want to call it, life for a sociopath. You know, you don't know. You know, it's he just did what he did. But I'm glad that they were smarter than him and they finally caught him.
There's still much we don't know about this ongoing investigation. Whether police plan to link Heuermann to the other 7 victims whose bodies were found on Gilgo Beach, or if he's suspected of other murders across the country.
Even with this arrest, we're not done. There's more work to do in this investigation regarding the other victims.
We've tried reaching out to his family members. So far, no answer. Heuermann is a husband and father of 2. His daughter worked with him at his successful Manhattan architecture firm. This surveillance video from outside his office showing the very moment Heuermann was swarmed by agents last week and brought into custody. Heuermann seemingly oblivious to the massive investigation that was swirling around him since last year. And Heuermann insists he's not guilty of the crimes he's been accused of. His next court date is scheduled for August 1st. Elizabeth?
Thank you for watching.
Wow, that's not too far ahead from now. Never heard of it as a tornado shelter. You go down inside like a normal basement, but there's swing doors leading outside as well. Why go through all that just to have a basement? Under house storage. It's where you go when shit goes down. That's right, Pappy. That's all you need to call it. It's not a tornado shelter. It's not a cellar. It's not a under house storage. It's not. It's just where you go when shit goes down. Basements are a thing there. I would hope so. Everybody, I mean, basements. I love basements. All that extra room. Do so many things with them. Always nice and cool. If you need to cool off sometime, you can just go down there and chill for a little bit. Cool down. That's what it looked like to me, Heavy Metal Rehab. It looked like one of them. I kept calling it a Kansas tornado thing or whatever, but that's what I meant. Wizard of Oz. Do you think that? Yeah, but isn't it moist? Isn't it moist down there? That'd be bad for the weapons, right? It'd be bad for the weapons. Let me see here. All right, we'll get to the next video here. Heuermann. Let me see. There was something else now. How DNA evidence led. So I'm gonna hear. I like this gentleman.
So I want to turn to Joseph Scott Morgan. He is a forensic death investigator who is one of the
I haven't played News Nation for a while.
leading experts in the coroner system in the United States, and one of my good friends. Joseph, great to see you. Okay, let me first start here. I don't understand why he's been in Massapequa. If you listen to the evidence that he had been searching about the killer and felt that the heat might be on him, why did he spend his whole life here? I was shocked he's been there this whole time.
So he felt that they were onto him? Yeah, I know it'll fix a dehumidifier, but I'm just saying. Like, putting him down there. So he felt the heat was on him already?
Really did commit these crimes.
What's he going to do? Pick up and leave, Jesse? I mean, he's got an established architecture practice. He's a Long Islander, as
But
you
he
had mentioned.
allegedly killed 3 people. Why wouldn't he take off?
Yeah, well, you would think so. But maybe, look, this is all speculation at this point, but maybe it's a big game to him. Maybe he's playing cat and mouse. Look, this guy, what was so fascinating about this, Jesse, is kind of the linear deposition of these bodies along that coastline that you know better than anybody. You grew up in that region. And that area right there, and it's not that far away from his home, not being a Long Islander, I had to map this thing out. He's 26 minutes from his street to this location. It's a very specific location that he would have had knowledge of and been very familiar. And what we do know about serial perpetrators is that they like to hunt and they like to perpetrate within those areas that they feel the most comfortable. And it seems as though if the police have the right guy, and it seems like they might, that truth.
So online searches, why could law enforcement not trace the calls made by why hasn't the Long Island SK been caught? Why couldn't they trace the calls? The burner phone. So he knew that they were onto him?
So that one truth does hold true here.
I have to tell you, the police work here, exceptional, really exceptional, unbelievable. Because when we talk about cold cases, and even the Brian Koberger case, when that probable cause affidavit came in, I mean, just terrific police work. From what you saw, whether it's the DNA from the pizza box that matches up to him, that matches up to the hair that was found in one of the bodies, his wife's hair that was allegedly on or near the victims, the car, what stands out to you as the strongest piece of evidence?
Okay, first off, kudos to the police, because you know what they were able to do that a lot of people can't in cases like this? Keep their mouth shut and keep it close to the vest. That's a big deal. That's an Achilles heel in a lot of cases. Nothing got out. I mean, we were all gobsmacked when this happened. I think probably that hair. And what makes this unique is that according to what we're hearing, it ain't his hair. It's a hair that he's domiciled. It's a hair originated from an individual he's domiciled with. And it's degraded hair, degraded DNA. They had to
Hold on, what now? This is the DNA. What? What?
It's a hair that he's domiciled. It's a hair originated from an individual. First off, kudos to the police, because you know what they were able to do that a lot of people can't in cases like this? Keep their mouth shut and keep it close to the vest. That's a big deal. That's an Achilles heel in a lot of cases. Nothing got out. I mean, we were all gobsmacked when this happened. I think probably that hair. And what makes this unique is that according to what we're hearing, it ain't his hair. It's a hair that he's domiciled. It's a hair originated from an individual he's domiciled with.
Domiciled? What the hell does that mean? It was his wife's hair? Domiciled? That he lives with? No, they're talking about the hair, Slim. Someone lives with. So they found his wife's freaking hair on the victims? Whoa.
And it's degraded hair, degraded DNA. They had to hold on to it. Remember, the science actually had to catch up with this case. We didn't do mitochondrial DNA back in 2007. So that's very key. And also this discarded pizza box, Jesse. Oh my God. They sat on this guy. They watched him. They watched his every move. So the circumstantial indicators here pointed to him. The police just sat back and they waited.
59 years old. 2 children, architect, founder of RH Consultants and Associates. Home near... I hate that they're calling that.
Indicators here pointed to him. The police just sat back and they waited. They waited for that opportunity where they were going to put their hands on that thing that would tie him back. I don't know what other DNA that they have that is a specific tie back, because that box contained his DNA. There is something there.
And I wanted to ask you about the way the bodies were found. If we can play this is number 1. This explains, this DA Tierney explaining how the victims were bound.
Right.
They were buried in a similar fashion, a similar location, in a similar way. All the women were petite. They were, they all did the same thing for a living. They all advertised the same way. And there were immediately there were similarities with regard to the crime scenes. All the women were bound at the head, at the midsection, or at the chest, and later at the legs.
So Joseph, I'm not going to go through the internet searches that he allegedly made on a burner phone because they are just absolutely sickening. But I'll tell you this much: the way the bodies were found seems to be very consistent with those searches. What do you take away from the way these these people were killed?
Yeah, the first person that comes to mind, Jesse, is find, torture, kill, is Dennis Rader. You know, when you begin to think about these various points along the continuum that he had an interest in, that's as far as I'll go with that. But what I will say, when it comes to these bindings, that gentleman was very specific. They are bound. And so those knots in particular are going to be particular to the individual that tied them. It's kind of like a signature. Also, when we look back also, we don't know all of the evidence that they have at this point. Think about those burlap bags. How often have we heard about burlap bags in all the cases that you and I have covered? That's something very unique to this individual. Did they come from the same manufacturing block, perhaps? Is that something that the police have, where they manipulated or cut in a particular way in order to facilitate the storage of a body?
What's up, Ray?
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find...
What's up, Ray? Huh, that's interesting. So they used... So why do you guys think the wife might potentially be involved? You really think so? And then speaking of BTK, there was something that came out here too about BTK.
Thank you. Our next guest actually grew up with a father who appeared to be a typical dad. But as we just heard, many serial killers and their suspects live normal lives and hide in plain sight. Carrie Rawson eventually found out that her father, Dennis Rader, was the notorious BTK killer. Rader lived a secret life of violence for decades until 2005, when police arrested him. He pleaded guilty to 10 murders spanning 2 decades. Carrie is a survivor who now advocates for other crime, abuse, and trauma victims, and she joins us now. Carrie, good to see you again and to have you back on the show. You say one of the first things you asked when you heard about the news of this arrest was, does he have a family?
Thanks for having me again. Yeah, I heard Friday, and then of course my phone was blowing up, and I was elated that they had caught, sort of this myth, like uncatchable person in the Long Island cases, and we're still, finding out how involved this is. And then instantly my question was, does he have a family? And then when I heard that he has a wife and children, it brings it all back for me. And it rips your heart out, because you're sitting here knowing not exactly, but what your family went through and what I can still go through. And now it's like they're going through it, and it's not something you would wish on your worst enemy. And it's very hard to know there's people in the world right now going through this thing that you went through.
Carrie, we just heard from the police commissioner that the wife and the children were shocked. And said, apparently, according to him, had no idea what was going on. You know that there are people out there in the world who say, come on, how could they not have known? They should have known. Did that happen to you? And can you understand why people might ask those questions?
Oh, we still get asked that. Like my mother still gets accused, of hiding things or being involved. And like my bottom line answer is that if anybody's saying, like in my family or this family had come across anything like this, evidence of a crime or had any suspicions, you basically would have gone running out of the house screaming to the police. The reality is that these people, as your last guest said, are very good at lying and presenting themselves in a certain manner. My father is a pathological liar, narcissist, sexual sadistic psychopath. He lies like he breathes. And so you have no idea when you're around him that he's lying. And literally they took truckloads of stuff out of my house. They're doing that in Rex's house. My house was a little bit disorganized in places. There were things you didn't go into, closets. There were locked boxes. You didn't go into my dad's stuff. I know people say it sounds crazy, but the reality is my family went through it. His family's going through it. Other families have. We're not lying when we say we had no idea.
Right. Yeah. And right now we're seeing police going through this secret, vault down in the basement that was behind a cabinet. So similar to what your family, experienced, there were secret places that were off limits that you didn't even know exist, perhaps. You've been through this before. What is this family going through right now in these early days? I mean, they're still taking apart that house and those storage lockers. And I'm not sure if the wife and the children have gone to visit Rex Heuermann in jail, where he's proclaiming his innocence or not, but this has been a real thunderbolt in their lives.
They have every right to go visit him. I would be surprised if they do right away. Part of it is the privacy, so that like you're dealing with massive media cameras, certain outlets that are not very like privacy protecting types, like people that stalk you. And so it's very risky to say show up somewhere like a prison. They're dealing with legal issues. They're needing a lawyer if they don't have one. You're dealing with massive financial issues. How are you going to afford a criminal defense? Do you turn this person over to public defenders like we did for my dad? There was no way we could have afforded a defense. Literally, my mother walked out of the house with her clothes on her back. She had to ask the law enforcement to go back in and get her purse. She needed her asthma medicine. That's the reality. They scoop you out of someplace and take you somewhere to interview you. So literally, my family had to go back and get clothes for her and her stuff. She never spent another night in that house. I can't imagine Rex's wife will ever step really foot in that house again, except maybe to clean it out eventually. Right now, it's just, you're juggling so much and you're traumatized. It's just an immense amount to put on anybody.
Heuermann, as I said.
Yeah, she's been making the rounds on social media, whether it's Twitter or News Nation. Since even before Idaho, but when Idaho happened, Idaho4, that's when she really started, that I noticed, she really started being around on podcast and things like that.
Told police he didn't do it. He's likely telling his family the same thing. These people have spent their entire lives living with this man. In his daughter's case, she's working with him as well. Tell me what this was like for you, wrestling in those early hours and days with what you thought was the truth, and then hearing the evidence and charges of what in fact was the truth.
I liken it now to like before and after. So there's this delineation point before my dad was arrested and after, and I still will talk to everybody. I'll say before or after, and I just mean before his arrest, before I knew he was a serial killer, after. You're spending basically I've spent the last 18 years in hindsight land applying these little pieces of puzzle things that come out. Still today, things are coming out, and you go back and you apply it and you go, okay, what did I miss? You know, when I was 6 years old, what did I miss when he murdered the neighbor lady down the street? Like, I know he wasn't home. You're sitting there early on trying to alibi your father, and then you're putting these pieces together, and then it's like you're just ripping in two as you're starting to come to terms with these things. And in the case of Rex's family, he's been accused of 3. We're pretty sure on the 4th. And there could be so many more. Like we don't even know. We're just at the very beginning. And unfortunately, his family is just facing so much going forward. I don't even begin to imagine how bad this potentially could be.
Thank you for watching.
Yeah, hey, what's up, typically? Yeah, she's that's a strong woman right there. Crazy. If you ever watch some of her interviews. Definitely strong. Okay, so there was some kind of 911 calls or something here. Nine shocking details. Hold on. I'm going to go ahead and try it. I already played a few News Nation. Why not, right? Let me see here. 9 shocking details. See, I don't know much about this. Slim Skittles, do you have a notification out for your live that I can go click the bell on it? Let me know, because I'd like to be there to support you. 9 shocking details, and then I'm going to listen to some of these 911
After more than
calls.
a decade searching for answers, Long Island investigators announced bombshell news last week. A suspect in the Gilgo Beach murders case is now finally in custody.
Rex Heuermann is a demon that walks among us. A predator that ruined families.
Now, recently released court records reveal shocking details about the alleged Long Island serial killer.
Yeah, Catherine
Rex Heuermann.
Ramsland.
Those include a disturbing online search history that showed the 59-year-old architect closely followed the Gilgo murders case from his home in Massapequa Park. Heuermann also stalked his victims and their families and sought out violent sex videos online. Documents
What confession? I'm going to have to look at and see what video you're talking about.
detail his meticulous planning and timelines to commit the murders when his wife was out of town, and his strange need to maintain harassing contact with victims' families after he murdered their loved ones.
I'm standing here with my law enforcement partners in the Gilgo Task Force to announce the indictment of defendant Rex Andrew Heuermann, 59 years of age.
Rex Heuermann, I'm an architect. I'm an architectural consultant. I'm a troubleshooter. Born and raised on Long Island.
Officials claim Heuermann is responsible for at least 3 murders that plagued the Long Island community starting back in 2010. Since then, 11 sets of remains have been recovered in the secluded Gilgo Beach area of Suffolk County, New York.
These young women went missing between July of 2007 and September of 2010. They were found in December of 2010 by the Suffolk County Police Department, and then there was nothing. Absolutely absolutely nothing. For the next 13 years, their cases went unsolved until today.
In early 2022, officials say a new Gilgo Beach task force comprised of Suffolk County Police Department, the Suffolk County Sheriff's Office, New York State Police, and the FBI was established. Just weeks later, investigators narrowed in on Heuermann as the prime suspect.
We took analysts, we took detective investigators, and they worked on a daily basis with other talented investigators from all of the agencies here. We started that in February 1st, 2022. 6 weeks later, on March 14th, 2022, the name Rex Heuermann was first mentioned as a suspect in the Gilgo case.
For more than a year, investigators kept watch on Heuermann, during which time they used more than 300 subpoenas.
Wow, hold on. Since when?
For more than a year,
talented investigators from all of the agencies here. We started that in February 1st, 2022. 6 weeks later, on March 14th, 2022, the name Rex Heuermann was first mentioned as a suspect in the Gilgo case.
For more than a year, investigators kept watch on Heuermann, during which time they used more than 300 subpoenas, search warrants, and other legal processes to collect evidence in the case. Throughout it all, officials believe Heuermann was closely monitoring the Gilgo Beach investigation. Between March 2022 and just last month, Heuermann made more than 200 internet searches related to the Gilgo Beach investigation, looking up, quote, why could law enforcement not trace the calls made by the Long Island serial killer? And why hasn't the Long Island serial killer been caught? On top of that, court documents show Heuermann's home IP address followed the Suffolk County Police Department's Gilgo News website for updates on the investigation. That's why officials opted for grand jury proceedings in his case.
So the grand jury has two things. It has power, it has reach. You can obtain documents, you could interview witnesses. But the other thing that the grand jury has secrecy. No one knows what you do when you operate a grand jury proceeding. And we knew that when we were investigating this case and when we dealt with the media or whatever it was we were doing, we were playing before a party of one, because we knew the person responsible for these murders would be looking at us. So we were very careful how we handled the investigation. We maintained the integrity of the investigation. Most importantly of all, we maintained the secrecy of that investigation.
Yeah.
I think that's
to go over a year and a half. And damn, they were watching him for a
that's
long
paid
time.
dividends, as we've seen today.
Investigators primarily pointed to Heuermann's alleged use of burner phones.
One thing that became immediately apparent was at the time of each of the murders, the murderer, the defendant Heuermann, he got a cell phone and a burner phone, which is prepaid and anonymous. And for each of the murders, he got an individual burner phone, and he used that to communicate with the victims. Then shortly after the death of the victims, he then would get rid of the burner phone.
For each victim?
Right away, in December of 2012, FBI CAST analysts, special agents with the CAST unit of the FBI, they immediately began looking at that cell site data. They compared the victims' phones
for each
with,
victim.
With the burner phones, and they immediately honed in on some similarities, specifically in the Massapequa Park area. And they looked at an area of a confluence of 4 cell towers, and they realized that this had significance because the perpetrator of these crimes was probably located within this area at or around the times of the murder. And that was mapped out. That was called the box.
Wow.
It was an area in Massapequa Park.
Officials say Heuermann used fictitious names, email accounts, and burner phones to contact victims in the case. Investigators used Heuermann's American Express records to show he was in the same location as multiple of the burner phones when they were used to contact victims. Court documents read in part, quote, "Significantly, investigators could find no instance where Heuermann was in a separate location from those other cell phones when such a communication event occurred."
We also went back and looked at his cell site records, and we compared his personal cell site records with that of the 4 target phones, and we saw that there was areas of commonality. In other words, that whenever the target phones would bounce off a cell tower, if the Heuermann personal phone bounced off a tower, it was always consistent and in close proximity with the target phones. And at no time was there ever an instant where those target phones were, for instance, in New Jersey while the defendant was on Long Island. So that was completely consistent.
Investigators say Heuermann was also
they were buried in a similar fashion, in a similar location.
Wow, this is way planned out.
In a similar way. All the women were petite. They were they all did the same thing for a living. They all advertised the same way, and there were immediately there were similarities with regard to the crime scenes. All the women were bound at the head, at the midsection, or at the chest, and later at the legs.
4 primary victims identified in this case: Maureen Brainerd Barnes, Melissa Bartholomew, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello were working as escorts at the time of the murders. Investigators note Heuermann's internet search history included specific searches for sex workers and torture-related porn, including, quote, "Mistress Long Island," "Mature Escorts Manhattan," and "Girl Begging for Rape Porn." But officials allege Heuermann got more specific.
Look at all that shit. Tied up, ard, begging, bruised face. Oh my gosh, even the descriptions for the children's searches. A lot of them with face beat up, ard, tied up. He probably frickin' tortured these people. Like, tortured them. Oh my gosh, I wonder if he fucking recorded his own shit.
Specific with his research, too.
There was a lot of torture.
Oh my gosh.
Porn, and what
right there.
you would consider, depictions of women being abused, being raped, and being killed.
Officials allege Heuermann had a disturbing
Hold on a minute. Did he just say and being?
Heuermann got more specific with his research, too.
There was a lot of torture, porn, and what you would consider, depictions of women being abused, being raped, and being killed.
Officials allege Heuermann had a disturbing fascination with victims' family members, staying in contact with them and making, quote, taunting calls. Court documents show how he used the victims' personal phones to contact their families after their murders. Maps show Heuermann's phone ping in the same location as the victims' phones during the time frame when their families received calls.
He was searching.
What? He was calling their freaking families?
Calls.
Whoa. Taunting calls? Hold on. The taunting calls made
victims' family members, staying in contact with them and making, quote, taunting calls. Court documents show how he used the victims' personal phones to contact their families after their murders. Maps show Heuermann's phone ping in the same location as the victims' phones during the time frame when their families received calls.
He was searching, compulsively searching pictures of the victims, but not only pictures of the victims, pictures of their relatives, their sisters, their children, and he was trying to locate those individuals.
What's more, investigators point out Heuermann's wife was out of town when multiple victims were killed.
We looked at the Heuermann family travel records, and we learned that during the murders of the last three women, Bartholomew, Waterman, and Costello, that during the commission of those murders, the defendant's wife and children were out of New York State, and he was alone in the tri-state area.
Though his wife may have been out of the area for multiple of the murders, investigators say what is believed to be her hair was recovered on multiple victims' bodies.
One of the things that we did is we followed him because we wanted to get an abandonment sample of
Whoa.
his DNA, which we were able to do. We also got DNA samples, abandonment samples from his family. And then we went back and we got mitochondrial DNA testing.
But investigators also matched Heuermann's DNA to hair recovered at the crime scenes. According to court documents, investigators recovered a pizza box Heuermann threw away in January 2023. The Suffolk County Crime Lab analyzed a piece of leftover crust connecting it to Heuermann.
Rex Heuermann is a demon that walks among us. A predator.
Okay, hold on a minute. So if it was his wife's DNA, and they're obviously not related, I would think. I don't know. I would think. So how did they match his DNA from the pizza box to his wife's DNA on the victims? What am I missing? I know because she lived with him. Had to get I mean, I know that he lives with him. I'm saying, wouldn't they have to have gotten... Yeah, they found a strand of hair on the victim from the wife. But what I'm saying is if they tested his DNA is not going to match his wife's. But that's what I'm saying. His DNA doesn't match her DNA. Yeah, it's gross, Pappy. I understand this, but see, I understand all of that. I understand it's his wife. I understand that they live together. I understand all of that. What I'm saying is how can you say it's a match when it's his DNA? Listen, the only way that their DNA can match is if they're frickin' brother and sister or some kind of relative. Do you guys see what I'm asking? Because they said it was a match on this video. Do you guys see what I'm asking? I'm not saying no. I'm not saying they're not married. I'm not saying none of that. What I'm saying is the only way that his DNA can match the DNA that is on the victim is if they were family. His hair and his wife's hair. So why are they talking about here, I'll rewind it. Why are they talking about the wife's hair? I didn't hear nothing about his hair. When we were watching it, they said what is that word that they called? Heavy metal rehab. If you're still in here, what was that word? docile or something. Domiciled. There you go. He domiciled with. Yeah. So if they're saying that the DNA was from somebody he domiciled with, if they found his hair, wouldn't they have said his DNA instead of somebody that he domiciled with? So his hair was, because from the statement we heard earlier, it sounded like it was his wife's hair. From the one we watched in the beginning of the show, it sounded like it was his wife's hair. The domicile, that's where the word came from. Heavy Metal explained what the word meant. So if his hair was found, where's the PCA? I need the PCA. Because I need to figure out how in the hell they consider that a match. Because if they're talking about that's the DNA, was the DNA that domicile, whatever, that's telling me they didn't have his DNA. Find a recording of the full press. I have the full press conference, but it's too long to watch tonight. Yeah, I want to read the PCA because I want to see how they, like, obviously when they test the hair, when they test the hair, I believe they could figure out what sex it is based off the DNA. That'll tell you what sex it is. So they obviously already know it was female. So what they do? Test her first? This is what I'm. His DNA and her DNA, unless they're family, that's not matching. So how did they? But a match. So his hair was found on the victims, not only his wife's, but his hair too. Because I thought it was just his wife. So she helped out the authorities? So what, they... So what, they had him as a suspect, they tested the wife's DNA, which then led them to him? Yeah, I'm gonna have to get the PCA. There was, thank you, CJK, appreciate that. There was a male hair found on the burlap of one victim. Okay. That was my question. That was my question, because what they were saying earlier made it sound like it wasn't his DNA. Like they made it sound like it was the wife's. Let me see here. Now this is something from that Oregon situation that just came up about 15 minutes ago.
Our top story tonight, the Multnomah County District Attorney's Office says they're investigating a person of interest now in connection with the deaths of 4 women.
And those victims include 22-year-old Kristen Smith, 24-year-old Charity Lynn Perry, 31-year-old Bridget Leanne Ramsey Webster, and 22-year-old Ashley Reel. They were all discovered within 100 miles of each other. Fox 12's Connor McCarthy has been looking into this all day and has the very latest on this case.
The Multnomah County District Attorney's Office is not releasing the name of a person of interest at this time, though they did say that they're working with multiple agencies across the metro area to try to uncover to see if the deaths of these women are connected. Now, though this may be the case, family members are one step closer to finding out what happened to their loved ones. 4 women all mysteriously found dead.
It's like that guy just woke up or something. Damn. So this is Portland, huh? So I seen the guy that they arrested as a possible suspect. Is it the same kind of thing or
Found
what?
dead across the metro area since the beginning of the year. 22-year-old Kristen Smith's body was found on February 19th. 24-year-old Charity Perry was found on April 24th. 22-year-old Bridget Webster was found about a week later, and 22-year-old Ashley Riel was found on May 7th. Before Monday, speculation grew on social media that the deaths of these young women were all connected. Many took to TikTok and other platforms to spread their own theories. Initially, law enforcement denied there was a connection or declined to say if there was. Now, the Multnomah County District Attorney's Office.
Wow, there's a lot of leaves on the ground for being the middle of summer. Is that usually what happens in Portland? The leaves fall early or something? Because they don't fall till like October around here.
Believes they're connected and they have focus on a person of interest. We spoke to Kristen's mom, Melissa, at the end of May about how she's remembering her daughter.
The giggle. That girl had a laugh that was very unique. She loved wearing wigs and makeup and eyelashes. That girl was left-handed and she could draw. She was a really good artist.
The DA's office says they do not believe there is an active danger to the public, but they also say no charges have been filed. I did reach out to the Multnomah County DA's office and other law enforcement agencies that are listed in this announcement to see if they can release the name of that person of interest, but they declined to do so at this time. In downtown Portland, Connor McCarthy, Fox 12 Oregon.
Yeah, I have that press conference, so maybe we can do that on the next show. I'll need to get the PCA, and then I'll do that. I'll watch the press conference and read through the PCA. Definitely want to read through that. I want to see exactly how they got to this, got to that, got to this. Yeah, I'm sure happy. Because it's like I was saying, it's can't be the only spot he was going to. He had to have multiple spots and probably had some kind of rotation to make sure he wasn't hitting the same spot too many times close together. All right, one second. Let me see how long this 911 call thing is. Let's see here. Listen to unedited. Actually, let me see. 9 shocking details. Where is that press conference? The shocking crimes he's accused of. Oh, I bet that's... Whoa, this is an SK talking about this. So the press conference is 1 hour and 13. Whoa, I'm going to go to this real quick. What is this?
CBS 2's Mary Calvi takes us inside the mind of a killer.
Certain things are very hard to stop.
An addiction to murder. Joel Rifkin terrorized the city over a 4-year span, killing one woman after another with his bare hands.
You think of people as things.
And now, a new killer may be following in his murderous footsteps.
There's like a whole little graveyard going on down there.
The beach off Ocean Parkway on Long Island, the final resting place of 4 women found murdered.
We could have a serial killer.
It happened last month. It is a scene eerily similar to a case 4 years ago just outside Atlantic City.
There's a madman out here.
There, just a mile from the beach in a drainage ditch, 4 women are found dead, strangled. 4 women in Atlantic City, 4 women on Long Island, 4 years apart, all unsolved. Could crimes of the past offer a clue? The year was 1990, the year the murderous rampage of notorious Long Island serial killer Joel Rifkin came to an end.
A brutal, savage, murderous attack.
In maximum security prison for 16 years now, Joel Rifkin spoke with me in detail about his killing spree and the 2 unsolved now. Rifkin's victims totaled 17, all of them prostitutes.
Drug-addicted, disease-carrying vermin is the lie I told myself.
Unlike the groups of 4 discovered on Long Island and in Atlantic City, Joel Rifkin told me he disposed of his bodies in 3s.
There were mini clusters, little, sets of 3. 3 were dismembered, 3 were in oil drums, some were in water, some were on land. It's like my own little nightmare scenarios.
Rifkin painstakingly covered up his crimes in 3s. He researched past crimes for details.
Water is harder to investigate than land because it washes everything.
The killer in Atlantic City may have known that as well. The victims were discovered face down in several inches of water. Key evidence washed away. Rifkin adds, that's no coincidence.
Since there's 4 in one place, he's probably comfortable with the area.
When I asked if he thought the killer or killers in these latest cases would commit murder again,
Yeah. I don't have any doubts.
what about the women that you killed? Was there a thought about lives that you took? Families that you ruined?
Wow.
You lie to yourself. You deny that there's a family. You deny that there's parents and possibly kids.
Throughout his trial and his incarceration, Joel Rifkin still cannot explain one thing. Why?
I don't know. I don't know. Why do people try to quit smoking for their entire lives?
Would you have killed again if you weren't caught?
As much as I say I wanted to stop, there probably would have been others.
The courts sentenced Joel Rifkin to more than 200 years in prison, making any chance of parole impossible. Mary Calvi, CBS 2 News.
Joel Rifkin was finally stopped by the police on a traffic stop when a Long Island officer noticed his front license plate was missing.
Wow. Stay home, right? That's creepy as shit. Man. All right, I'm going to check out a couple small videos here, and then I'm going to go ahead and end it for the evening. Tomorrow night, we'll be talking some Idaho4, probably, the whole show. And I didn't really get any updates on Carly. Like I was thinking, everything's pretty much hush-hush. I'm not really finding anything new out on that one. So maybe tomorrow we might find something more. But other than that, we might be doing a combo at Idaho4, Long Island, SK. Maybe we'll do that, a combo. But yeah, we'll be going back into those tomorrow night. So this is a couple short videos. This is one, how did they develop the profile? And I definitely need to get the PCA and then watch that press conference and read through that PCA.
2011, okay? And the criminologists and the
I want to understand
FBI
this.
are working on a profile of who could have done this with these bodies. I have the guys who were looking at it at that time to figure out the profile more than a decade ago. And they were like, 20s to 40s, job, financially secure, well-educated, white male who's married or has a girlfriend, organized, lived nearby. Right? So if it was pretty spotty. I mean, the only thing they had to say was he's the size of an NBA small forward. You know, if they were so close, why was it so hard? Scott Bond, criminologist, author, followed this from the beginning. And my friend Jim Clemente, former FBI profiler, New York State prosecutor, who, you know, knows the profile very, very well. All right, so first, let's set the table about how extraordinary it is that we're here today at all, fellas, all right? So I start with you, Scott, in terms of what do people have to understand about how much of a shot in the dark it seemed that this would ever be solved after that initial flush of activity?
Well, absolutely. There was the crime scene evidence, and then later the telephone call to Melissa Barthelomew's sister, but little else. And so it's not surprising that it took technology. And I love what you said in the prior segment. It's really technology that caught up to him and ultimately bit him in the butt. And I've been saying that for the last few days.
Bit him in the butt.
So Jim,
technology.
You know, I've been doing this so long. I mean,
I need to read this
I've been talking to you
PCA
about it for like almost half my adult life now, and that is not the profile for serial killers in general, but it is the one that they came up with here. And you have understanding of why. Why, Jim, did they come up with that profile that's so similar to this guy here when that's not your typical serial killer profile?
Well, Chris, basically what happened was this offender was able to at least kill these 4 women, or 3 or 4 of these women, and get away with it. I mean, he had almost permanent concealment. They only found skeletonized remains. That means he's fairly criminally sophisticated and probably forensically sophisticated. That gave us the sort of advanced age. He's not going to be in his 20s and be able to pull this off, and 30s would be tough. So we thought mid-30s to mid to late 40s. And then the fact that he kept going back to the same place told us that he's familiar with this place. He knew he wouldn't stand out there. He knew that he's comfortable with the time he'd have to spend alone getting rid of these bodies or concealing them. Also, he used burlap, and we didn't know at the time that it was camouflage burlap, but it's a very strange way to wrap victims. It's unusual, so he probably has a source of that. And maybe now that we know it's camouflage, that maybe he got it from a hunting location.
I would say he
Anyway,
has a source.
The point is that he was smart, he was meticulous in what he did. That would translate to his work environment. So we expected him to be in his 40s with a good job, meticulous in his job, and we expected him to be a sexual sadist. That was borne out when they searched his home and found torture porn. But
Yeah, not all, and I'm sure who says some of it wasn't. I mean, hell, you heard that the investigators sit there and he was having a hard time even saying what kind of stuff it was. And he mentioned unaliving in it as part of it.
But we knew that he was a sexual sadist because he called up one of the victims and taunted her.
That's crazy.
So all these things
Scott,
leaked out of his own behavior.
That's right. So, but they, at the time, they were all all dust in the wind, right? Because nobody was looking directly at him, and it was like one crumb after another. First, just to get perspective of 3 different guys who've been doing this for multiple decades. Jim, have you ever heard of anything like this with so many different pieces that needed to come together to catch a guy?
Yeah, well, I think it happened in the Golden State Killer case. That took a very many number of years, almost 40 years to resolve, and BTK as well. And both of those situations, you had a married offender who basically used the family as cover. Everybody thought he was legitimate. And I think those cases, they took much longer. I mean, 3 times as long as this case did to resolve.
True. Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com.
The defense is going to have to deal with that. I frankly think my first kind of gut reaction was that is worse for him than his DNA. I mean, why, unless you're going to allege that his wife was somehow involved, that that's what I would call a bad fact for the defense, because you're gonna be sitting there arguing ultimately, if he goes to trial, to a jury. You're gonna have to try to explain to a jury why both his DNA and his wife's DNA are on the victims. I mean, that's a tough sell.
Last thing, real quick for me, please, Mark. What is the heaviest hammer that the prosecution can swing
He's going to use
at
the
defense
hammer.
counsel to try to get this
He's going to use
guy
the hammer
to admit to more? What can they threaten him with?
They're going to use the hammer.
Well, I always think in cases like this,
Yeah, that was his wife.
and you wonder, but if history is any guide, normally what prosecutors will do is, if you were to do A, B, C, and D, take me to this or connect me to this. So where they have cases, or if they have cases, and this is all presumed that he's good for it, which who knows at this point, but if he is, the incentive is to take death off of the table, or the incentive is to do something else, not rope in some loved one of his, if that were the case, if there was evidence that would show that some loved one had some kind of knowledge and was an accessory after the fact. And those are the kinds of arrows in the quiver of prosecutors that they use generally in these cases.
Hey.
It's a bad fact, he said. I don't know. Man, yeah, I need to watch this press conference, read this PCA. Man, there's so much to this. So, we'll be either covering Idaho4 tomorrow night, or a combo episode, Idaho4 and the Long Island SK stuff. So I'll put out a notification, and we'll see what else comes out with this. Definitely be getting into it later on this week. Man, this one looks like it's gonna be a long time, and gosh, I can't imagine to think how many more victims could potentially be out there, or how many other SKs could potentially be out there when it comes to the connection to this gentleman, if it is true. Yeah, we'll be going through those 911, the unedited 911 calls too. So that'll probably be the whole episode next time we have one, probably Friday. Press conference, PCA, and unedited 911 calls. My gosh. Cuomo. Yeah, it's like describing a small forward. What? He's got weird shit. All right, typically. I appreciate that too. Yeah, we'll hit you up. Trying to think. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see about Thursday, because I know I want to try and cover that Mallory Beach case this week too. So I'll kind of sit back over the next couple days, think about it, check it out, and yeah, we'll figure it out. But I definitely need to do all that in one episode minimum. And then we got a lot of Idaho4 stuff to talk about tomorrow night too. Check out as well. So thank you all for hanging out. I'm tired as shit tonight, y'all. So I'm just chilling. I'm glad it was a chill kind of evening, a chill kind of show. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for hanging out. I know it's a busy night. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Thank you all so much. I will see you tomorrow night, and we'll get back into tomorrow night, everybody. Thank you for hanging out. Hope you have a peaceful and positive night. Appreciate you so much. We'll see you tomorrow.